The Progressive National Baptist Convention, in partnership with AARP, proudly presents Gospel and Grace, a 150th anniversary virtual tribute celebrating the legacy of 2020 Grammy Award-winning HBCU choir, the Fisk Jubilee Singers. With performances by the choirs of Morgan State University, Winston-Salem State University, and Oakwood University. Hosted by Grammy winner Regina Belle.
Welcome. I'm Edna Kane-Williams, Executive Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer for AARP. I'm here to celebrate our 10-year partnership with PNBC, and I'm delighted to join you for this, your 60th annual session. This last year and a half have been challenging, no doubt. COVID has been absolutely devastating for the African American community. And here at AARP, we found it particularly important to partner with the faith community to get the word out, both about prevention and about vaccinations. I'm so glad that we've been able to create this partnership with PNBC. We're working together to educate the public on the importance of getting vaccinated, and importantly, to try to get us back to normal. We all want to be in church again. We all want to be able to attend services. We all want to be able to resume our lives. We're celebrating Black life and Black joy with a virtual concert that we're calling Gospel and Grace, featuring an unforgettable performance by the renowned Fisk Jubilee Singers with musical tributes from choirs from both Morgan State and Winston-Salem State Universities. Oh, such a treat. I've heard them before, and they're all so wonderful. Not only did the Jubilee Singers win a long overdue Grammy Award earlier this year for Best Roots Gospel Album, but this historic choir has been touring the globe singing God's praises for 150 years. Our host for tonight is a favorite of mine, Regina Belle. She's an incomparable Grammy Award-winning recording artist, and she started singing in the church, and her illustrious career has spanned nearly 4 decades. She's been working with AARP for a number of years. Whenever we call on her, she's always there. Thank you, Regina, and I know that you're going to do a great job tonight. So everyone sit back, relax, put your feet up, and let's celebrate our lives and our culture through song. AARP appreciates the partnership again with PNBC, and we look forward to pursuing our important work together, continuing to stay safe, and God bless.
Good evening to the members of the Progressive National Baptist Convention, AARP, and all those watching online. Welcome to Gospel and Grace, a tribute concert celebrating 150 years of our very own national treasure, the Fisk Jubilee Singers. I'm your host, Regina Belle, and I'm honored to be with you tonight to recognize the accomplishments of this cultural institution and to honor this choir's powerful, powerful legacy. 150 years is a long time, wouldn't you agree? And from the very start, the Fisk Jubilee Singers blazed trails and broke barriers. The original choir popularized songs sung by the enslaved, and by the late 1800s introduced the world to a unique American musical genre known as the Negro spiritual. It's in this rich tradition that today's Fisk Jubilee Singers continue to perform, preserve our music, and share our African American culture with audiences around the globe. What's more, this sensational choir is here with us tonight. That's right, tonight, y'all. They'll be performing along with 3 stellar choirs from Morgan State, Winston-Salem State, and Oakwood Universities. But before we jump into the music, joining me is Dr. James Abington, PNBC's National Director of Music and Associate Professor of Church Music and Worship at Emory University, and the Reverend Dr. Timothy Stewart, PNBC's President and Pastor of the historic Bethel Baptist Church in Nassau, Bahamas. I'll talk with them about the mission for this year's 60th annual session as the world transitions out of the COVID pandemic, as well as their support of gospel music and HBCUs. Gentlemen, welcome. Habar Ghani, what's going on? Dr. Abington, the Fisk Jubilee Singers were instrumental in introducing the world to the Negro spiritual. Can you tell me, in your opinion, what is significant about this type of music?
Well, as I think back of the historic tour that began in 1871, the Fisk Jubilee Singers began presenting concerts much like most Western European or American choirs. It consisted of patriotic songs, sentimental songs, Irish ballads, anthems. And it was not until they added 2 spirituals at the end of their programs that the audiences became much more enthusiastic about their concert. And as a result of that, they sang more and more spirituals. I think the significance is that for the first time, the spiritual was becoming a musical world phenomenon. It was being heard by audiences that ordinarily would not hear what would be considered slave music or Negro folk music. But here were these singers that were very well prepared, singing these folk songs, these musical treasures of enslaved Africans in America that were orally transmitted from generation to generation, that expressed their pain and their struggling and their oppression, their sorrows, their fears, their hope, their joy, their will to persevere. And this became significant, and it resonated because people all around the world were a part of suffering as well. So even in Europe, as they were being sung there were people who were marginalized and oppressed who felt that this song had a place in their heart as well.
Wow, that's really interesting. So in your estimation, why are spirituals an important part of American music and history? I know we talk about, a lot of times we hear the critical race theory, and we go through all of that, but can you tell us why this is such an important platform in terms of American music and history today?
Well, the Fisk Jubilee Singers tour, which was from about 1871 to about 1878, was very significant. But another major event took place in American history between 1892 and 1895. And it was when a Bohemian composer by the name of Antonin Dvorak came to this country and basically taught a school of composition, a national school of composition. And it was at that time that he was introduced to a black singer by the name of Harry T. Burleigh, who introduced him to the spiritual, as Dvorak was there, certainly one of the most revered of his country. And people were trying to find what they called indigenous or original American melodies. And this Bohemian said, here you have found in these pieces the true Negro melody, the value in this melody. This is truly American music. You can imagine that wasn't well received in New York and around the country and between 1892 and 1895. But then Dvorak went on to compose a symphony from the New World. And one of the movements of that is Largo. We kind of know it as Going Home. And it was his homage to and he quotes Steal Away, so to Jesus even in that symphony. So it began to have significance in the history of American music because for the first time, people said, well, this is American music. It was no longer just referred to as their music or this is what. So it became to take a place. Well, I must recall, when you think about significance, 1873, April of 1873, Queen Victoria, for whom the Fisk Jubilee Singers performed, demanded, requested, commanded 3 of her favorites, Steal Away to Jesus, Go Down Moses, and a chant version of the Lord's Prayer. Can you imagine the Queen of England, Queen Victoria, saying to these black students, I demand, I command that you sing these pieces?
Amen. Thank you so much. Reverend Dr. Stewart, talk to us about this year's theme for PNBC's virtual session, In Pursuit of Wholeness, Maximizing Our Potential.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share with you today once again, and certainly to have I consider probably the best musician, this side of heaven, in the person of Reverend Dr. James Abington. You never know. You never know. You never know. Our theme, In Pursuit of Wholeness, came about as a result of contemplating various aspects of our reality as it would have impacted the home, the church, conventions, politics, business. Of course, it's difficult to maximize your potential if you're not whole. And that is in any strata, of life. You first must have a sense of wholeness to then maximize holistically what you have become and what you are attempting to produce around you.
I love your perspective. Tonight we'll hear from 4 outstanding choirs, all from HBCUs, and this question is going to be directed to both of you. I'll start with you, Dr. Abington. What are you looking most forward to? Now, I know that, you got a long list of who you are behind you, and you stand on a very large platform, and that, there's going to be some criticalness going on. But what are you looking most forward to tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, I have always admired the excellence of Fisk University, the Fisk Jubilee Singers, and the work that Dr. Kwame is doing there. But I am just delighted that this particular program will include Winston-Salem State University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Maestro Burke is one of the finest. She and I have worked together, and the excellence that comes out of their mouths is a result of hard work. So I expect nothing short of excellence. That followed by I call my protege, and that is Dr. Jason Max Ferdinand, the Aeolians of Oakwood University,
yeah, Oakwood
that great Seventh-day Adventist school.
All right. And Dr. Stewart, what can I ask you that you're looking most forward to tonight?
Well, I am going to enjoy the repertoire of music that they present. I was just down the street from Fisk University in my college days at the American Baptist College in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I did have an opportunity to hear the Jubilee Singers and also their other choirs. As a matter of fact, my choir director is a former Jubilee singer.
Okay.
Yes. And then Oakwood, again, the Seventh-day Adventist is known for just superlative harmony,
Yes.
and
Okay.
And Oakwood, I was kind of introduced to Oakwood because Dr. Julius Scruggs is the pastor of First Baptist Church in Huntsville, Alabama. So, on our way to visit him, etc., you have to come within the influence of Oakwood. And so we're looking forward to being blessed by them.
Well, I just want to thank you both because you represent a wealth of information and knowledge and wisdom And I just appreciate you spending this time with me just to talk a little bit about your expectations and just our rich history and how we stand after all these years, the resilience of our people to be able to still stand. And I think I think I'm going to use that as the cultural glue to connect us from not just from a historical standpoint and what has happened, but also from a passionate, from the story linking, the storytelling that we do, bringing us up until today's time. So this music has been inspirational, it's been joyous. And even though at times we shed tears when we think about how the songs were birthed, we thank God for all of the people that gave a voice to this music that we continue on in this rich legacy. Thank you so much to the both of you, Dr. Abington and Dr. Stewart. I love you both, and I can't wait to see you in person to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
We love you. Thank you so much, and your very fine work.
Now, I know the Bible says be anxious for nothing, but if you're anything like me, you're just a little bit, maybe a tad bit anxious and uber excited to hear from our honorees. But before we do, 3 more critically acclaimed choirs will grace our virtual stage. First up is the Morgan State University Choir under the direction of Dr. Eric Conway. This prestigious choral ensemble hails from the state of Maryland, but they perform on grand stages domestically and abroad for audiences in South Africa, China, Russia, Cuba, Germany, and the United Arab Emirates, just to name a few. Not only are they cultural ambassadors, but they've shared their musical gifts with dignitaries and celebrated performers alike. From Wynton Marsalis and my industry mother, the late, great Nancy Wilson, to the New York Philharmonic and the Baltimore Symphony Orchestras. In 2015, they were even invited to sing at the White House by First Lady Michelle Obama, where they rocked the stage with the world-renowned and celebrated, well, we call her Aunt Riri, but she is the Queen of Soul forever and ever and ever, Aretha Franklin. Much like the Fisk Jubilee Singers, the Morgan State University Choir is best known for performing spirituals. However, these men and women can sing it all, from classical, if that I were a jewel, a shining, shimmering jewel, that all my shining brilliance might fall at thy feet, thou dark one. To gospel, I know that God, my God, God is good. And contemporary pop, a whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But now from way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you. Yes, they do it all. And whatever they sing, we are certainly in for a treat. Please welcome to the stage, Morgan State University Choir.
Changed.
Wasn't that an amazing and fantastic performance? Now, I know you feel like giving God the glory, okay? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to go ahead and get your praise on. Here we go. 1, 2, 30. Let's give the Morgan State University Choir a virtual round of applause wherever you are, in your living room, in your kitchen cleaning chicken, wherever you are. Stand up on your feet and give Morgan State University Choir a rousing round of applause. Yes. Now, if you thought Morgan State University Choir slayed in the spirit, and they did, then you don't want to miss the choir coming up next. But first, let's do a little housekeeping, okay? And take a moment to watch a brief message from our partners at AARP.
What would you call a joy that knows no bounds? That is as solemn as it is sweet, with an outpouring of soul that connects us. Joy in resilience, joy in creativity, joy in happiness, joy in strength. What would you call a joy that knows no bounds? A joy supreme. AARP celebrates Black joy. Visit us at aarp.org/Black community.
This next Grammy-nominated choir comes to us from North Carolina, where they are one of the oldest student organizations on the campus of historically Black University, Winston-Salem State. Known for their moving renditions of popular choral works, spirituals, and world music, the Winston-Salem State University Choir currently includes multiple ensembles that perform a variety of music. We have the Burke Singers, a female a cappella group which focuses on political awareness and protest music. Then there's the Shola Cantorum, an all-male ensemble which showcases the work of African-American composers. This choir has performed and recorded both nationally and internationally and has sung with symphony orchestras like Winston-Salem's The Color of Music, Dvorak, and the New England Symphonies. They've also graced such prestigious stages as Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, and John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Under the direction of DeWalla Simmons Burke, this dynamic choir has also released 8 albums. Somewhere Far Away, recorded abroad in Prague and released in 2008, was nominated for, get this, 5 Grammys. Y'all better talk to me. Please join me in giving a stand-up, rousing virtual welcome to the Winston-Salem State University Choir.
We gonna have a good time way over in Beulah. Oh, when we get way over in Beulah, yes, way over in Beulah. Oh, we gonna have a good time way over in Beulah. I'm singing way over in Beulah, yes, way over in Beulah. Oh, we gonna have a good time way over in Beulah. Oh, we gonna Beulah, Beulah, way over in Beulah. Oh, we gonna Beulah, Beulah, way over in Beulah. I'm singing way over in Beulah, yes, way over in Beulah. Oh, we gonna have a good time way over in Beulah. I'm singing way over in Beulah, yes, way over in Beulah.
as my big mama would say, y'all better sing, choir. You have truly outdone yourselves. Our next choir is the original home of the most awarded a cappella group in history. Grammy Award winning artist Take 6. Y'all know the ones. Spread love, blah, 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 do, 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 spread love, blah, blah, blah. Those are my friends. Hailing from Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama, the Aeolians were originally organized in 1946 by the late Dr. Eva B. Dykes. By the early 70s, the choir came to national and international prominence, performing over 200 concerts across the United States and the Caribbean, in Canada, Poland, Romania, Russia, and Great Britain. Most recently, under the direction of Jason Max Ferdinand, the choir has also performed competitively, placing 2 years in a row at the I Sing HBCU Challenge hosted by Reed Temple AME Church in Lanham, Maryland. They also competed at the 7th World Choir Games held in Cincinnati, where they earned 3 gold medals. Y'all better talk back to me. The Aeolians' musical repertoire is vast, ranging from the Baroque era to the 21st century. However, they relish singing Negro spirituals and work songs, a testament to Black life, Black survival, and the hope of our ancestors to one day be free. Please join me in welcoming the Aeolians.
I shall not fear the arrow by day, nor shall I fear the terror by night. The God who governs angel armies has set encampment around me. Whom shall I fear?
I shall not fear the arrow by day, nor shall I fear the terror by night. The God who
I set around me. Whom
I shall not fear the arrow by day, nor shall I fear the terror by night.
the God
Has set encampment
around me. Oh, thank you, Lord. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? encampment around me, protection around me, strong tower around me. Whom shall I fear? The God who governs, angel armies, has set encampment around me. His angels, they're all around me. Protection around me. Whom shall I fear?
That performance was outstanding. Outstanding. The Aeolians of Oakwood College truly sing from their hearts. Now, if you enjoyed their harmonious voices, then you don't want to miss the Fisk Jubilee Singers. But before we hear from them, I know, I keep teasing you, right? Joining me tonight is their musical director, Dr. Paul Kwame and Adrian Latham, Fisk's Assistant Vice President for Institutional Advancement. They're here to talk about the choir's legacy and what lies ahead. Welcome, and thank you for joining me. Dr. Kwame, the Fisk Jubilee Singers are such a cultural institution. Now, I know, but can you tell me the impact of their legacy?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say how grateful I am to be speaking with you today, especially about the Fisk Jubilee Singers as we celebrate our 150th anniversary. The Fisk Jubilee Singers are the ones who established a very important form of American music 150 years ago and shared it with the world. And if we talk just about that music, I think we can say that the Fisk Jubilee Singers have made and continue to make a great impact on the music, not only of the United States, but of the whole world.
I would definitely concur with everything that you just said. The Jubilee Singers have sung Negro spirituals for over 150 years. It's so hard to believe. How do you keep their performances and their music so fresh? How do you do it?
Well, I'm very blessed in that Fisk University has a group of wonderful students every year who desire to become members of the ensemble. And once they are selected through an audition process, I teach them the values that are embedded in the Negro spirituals. Some people look at the Negro spirituals only as historical forms of music, but these songs still contain valuable messages for us. So I teach our students to understand the messages of the songs, apply those messages to their own lives as young people, and that helps to keep this legacy fresh, even with our young students.
That's amazing. I still find them to be powerful and inspirational. So I hear exactly what you're saying. Ms. Latham, what's so special about Fisk's choir from your perspective?
Well, Dr. Kwame has hit on one of the key elements is that they're young. And that legacy has kept us going. They were teenagers, the original Jubilee Singers, that went out to save the school, which they did. And that legacy has continued. The current students inherit that legacy, and they make a contribution toward advancing that legacy. And I think that is what makes them so special, along with what Dr. Kwame has just said.
Wow, what a great combination. Why do you think they've lasted so long and achieved as much success as they have?
I think we've had a very high quality of leadership in directors such as Dr. Kwame, and they have passed the baton on to each other. Part of our alma mater says, her sons are steadfast, her daughters true, and we absolutely do believe that, and we ingrain it into our students as well as anybody who's a friend of Fisk, really. Our motto is, her sons and daughters are ever on the altar. So it's not anything where you just come for 4 years or 2 years or 15 years, because we have some alumni who were Jubilee Singers that finished in the 40s, and one of the highlights is for them to come back to Jubilee Day on October the 6th, which is every year, October the 6th, 10 o'clock a.m., no matter what day of the week.
All right. All right. Last question. Why is it so important to introduce the Jubilee Singers and their music to younger generations?
Well, I think it's a matter of how we want to have our stories told and who we want to tell it. And we want to introduce it to as many generations as we can. And I think that Dr. Kwame, with the way he is working with our young students, with the way the parents are even just so proud to have their students, their children be a part of. And he can tell you that we even have legacies who parents were Jubilee Singers, and now we're getting into grandchildren. So it is,
wow.
It really is something that has become ingrained in the Fisk fabric.
Let me ask you, I know this is not a part of the questions, but I want to ask you, how does it make you feel when a child comes home after all of what they've learned, or a student comes home from all of what they learned and they're actually teaching the parents? How does that make you feel?
Dr. Kwame, I think that's yours.
Well, well, I can say that when a young person goes back home to share our history with parents, parents become very grateful because they know that Fisk is one of the places where their children can come and truly learn about the culture. Because if we don't teach our young ones about the culture in which they have grown, then we would be at fault. We would allow our children to lose the wonderful values that are embedded in our culture. So yes, definitely a child who comes home to teach his or her parents
Yes.
about the culture would always be grateful to the teachers.
Wow, that's amazing. I just remember having a conversation with my grandmother before she passed away and letting her know that Wade in the Water was actually a message. And I just remember
Yes.
seeing her face light up. So I can definitely hear what you're saying about being able to come home and teach. Listen, let me ask both of you a question. What's next for the Jubilee Singers? And I'll start with you, Dr. Kwame.
A lot is next for the Fisk Jubilee Singers. As I said in the beginning, this year we are celebrating our 150th anniversary. We've had events, we've had some lectures, we've had some concerts, and of course we have Jubilee Day coming up, as Mrs. Latham mentioned, which will be on October 6th. That is the anniversary date, and we are looking forward to the city of Nashville, in fact, celebrating the Fisk Jubilee Singers. But then also we plan to have a concert on November 1 at the Ryman Auditorium, where again, Fisk Jubilee Singers will be celebrated. But even more importantly, I am personally looking forward to the opportunity to continue teaching our young people about this wonderful culture. There are young people who come to Fisk not knowing what the Negro spiritual is. If I don't teach them, if we adults don't teach them, if we also don't get them to understand that these are songs that God gave to our ancestors and
Yes.
spoke to them through these songs, then we would be wrong. So I'm looking forward to those days coming when I'll teach our students about these truths.
And it's been a joy working with Dr. Kwame just during this 150th. This has been something that I know that I didn't expect. I finished Fisk in '68, And absolutely, as a student, I remember seeing them for the first time. I think what's coming this fall, I always enjoy Jubilee Day and the new students that are on campus, because October the 6th is the first day the current Jubilee Singers perform in public. And so they get a chance to see these young people who have just come in as of August. And for everyone to know, they have to audition every year. You don't just come in and make it one year and you've made it. You have to audition. I know
that's right.
So you have to keep the craft up. No
seat is safe.
So with that, the students learn a discipline. I think they get ingrained with what we expect. Fiskites expect the Fisk faculty, the Fisk administration, and particularly the alumni, who tend to sometimes be a little bit overly passionate about it. But I think that's one of the things that even the current Jubilee Singers express, is a passion for what they're doing, and they understand the reason why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Amen. That's wonderful. I look at it, and what you both seem to be saying is that it's not just about the history, but it is a concept. It's a state of mind. It is a spirit of our people. When we look at our ancestors, and it's a way to teach our people of where we came from, but not just from a date perspective, not from just a bunch of dates and places, but to actually talk about what we were feeling in our hearts. These songs coming forward, when you sing these songs, they touch something that the world can't touch. And so I am so appreciative of all the work that you both are doing right now. God bless you both. Thank you so much for giving me the time to be able to speak with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Fisk Jubilee Singers are more than an American a cappella ensemble. They are a cultural institution that's been performing songs originally sung by the enslaved in the antebellum South since 1871. Formed in Nashville, Tennessee, 5 years after Fisk University opened up its doors to educate freedmen, the Jubilee Singers were created by Fisk's treasurer and music teacher, George L. White, to help raise money to support the university. The original 9-member chorus first toured domestically in small towns across the Midwest and Northeast. They often encountered hostility and bigotry from predominantly white audiences who expected these young black singers to perform minstrel shows, a popular form of comedic entertainment that stereotyped and demeaned black people. And yet, the Fisk Jubilee Singers persevered. They continued to perform their own unique genre of music with dignity and pride. Soon, their talent began to change the attitudes of racist whites, and skepticism was eventually replaced by standing ovations and glowing reviews. By 1873, the group embarked on their first European tour, raising enough money to construct Jubilee Hall, Fisk's first permanent building and now a National Historic Landmark. This first tour is commemorated each year in October on what is known as Jubilee Day. Today, the Fisk Jubilee Singers are led by musical director Dr. Paul T. Kwame. As an alumnus of the Jubilee Singers and a native of Ghana, he recognizes the connection between African American spirituals and the music of West Africa. He believes that the work of the Jubilee Singers helped to bridge the gap between Africans and African Americans. The Fisk Jubilee Singers have indeed made their mark on American culture, influencing other troupes of Jubilee Singers that have come after them. They continue to perform in the United States and abroad and have appeared with celebrity performers like Danny Glover, Shania Twain, Patty Austin, and Rodney Atkins. In 2000, they were inducted into the Gospel Hall of Fame, and in 2008, President George W. Bush presented them with the National Medal of Arts, the highest recognition for artistic excellence given by the United States. How's that for a turnover? At the Grammy Awards this year, the choir also took home the award for Best Roots Gospel Album for their 150th anniversary album called Celebrating Fisk. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to some and introduce to others tonight's feature performance. Stand up on your feet and welcome to the stage the Fisk Jubilee Singers. Yes!
Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. My Lord says He's coming by and by. This is the year of Jubilee. My Lord says He's coming by and by. My Lord has set His people free. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Intend to shout and never stop. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Until I reach the mountain top. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Whether try, intend to try. My Lord says He's coming by and by. To serve the Lord until I die. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. Rise, shine, for the light is coming. My Lord says He's coming by and by. Done made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be. Done open my mouth to the Lord, and I never will turn back. Oh, I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be.
The man who loves to serve the Lord,
I will go, I shall go
will surely get his just reward.
to see what the end will be. Done made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be.
When every star refused to
I
shine,
will go, I shall go
I know King Jesus will be mine.
to see what the end will be. Done made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be.
Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm
I
down,
will go, I shall go
but still my soul feels heavenly bound.
to see what the end will be. Done made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be. Done open my mouth to the Lord, and I never will turn back. Oh, I will go, I shall go to see what can't turn back. Lord, I can't turn back. Lord, I can't turn back. Just because I've been born again. You can talk about me just as much as you please. Just because I've been born again. But I'll talk about you when I get on my knees. Just because I've been born again. Lord, I can't turn back. Lord, I can't turn back. Lord, I can't turn back. Just because I've been born again. I got a crown up in that kingdom, in that good news. In that good news. I got a crown up in that kingdom, in that good news. I'm gonna lay down this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it home to my Jesus, in that good news. Good news. I got a harp up in the kingdom, in that good news, in that good news. I got a harp up in the kingdom, in that good news, in that good news. I'm gonna lay down this world, gonna shoulder up my shoulder, gonna take it home to my Jesus. Ain't that good news? Good news. I got a hope in that kingdom, in that good news. In that good news. I got a hope in that kingdom, in that good news. I'm gonna lay down this world on my shoulders, my take it home to Jesus, in that good news, good news. I got a Savior in that kingdom, in that good news, in that good news. I got a Savior in that kingdom, in that good news, in that good news. I'm gonna lay down this world, gonna shoulder up on my cross, gonna take it home to my Jesus, in that good news, good news, good news, good news, my
What a remarkable and fantabulous performance. This was truly a treat. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Regina Belle, and on behalf of the Progressive National Baptist Convention and AARP, it's truly been a pleasure to help celebrate the Fisk Jubilee Singers, to honor 150 years of Black excellence and music, and to hear from four extraordinary choirs. What a marvelous event. Now, I know my spirit's been lifted, and I hope yours has been too. Again, thank you so much for watching.
Lord, I can't turn back. Lord, I can't turn back. Lord, I can't turn back. Just because I've been born again. I do believe. Just because I've been born again. Jesus will my soul receive. Just because I've been